The Breakdown with Jeff Messer.
What's up, everybody? It's good to be back live on video. I guess it's live to video. It's good to be back with you guys. I had the coolest idea last week to be in a comic book shop at 6 o'clock and to do this whole thing live from a comic book shop where we could show the books on the shelves and talk to the guy that runs the shop and all that stuff. And then I got there and discovered that this platform we're on doesn't yet work with the iOS phone setup. So my phone was useless by the time I got to the comic shop and you guys were going live. So thanks for winging it without me last week. And it's good to be back. Oh my gosh, I feel like I haven't been back for a while. It's like 2 weeks worth because I was probably still jet lagged or hungover from San Diego the last 2 weeks ago. And then last week, of course, technology failed me. But I'm happy to say that technology seems to be working in our favor thanks to our producer, Jack, who is becoming a complete pro at this platform. Jack is with us, and so is Kat. Hey, the High Hill Gamer is over there hanging out somewhere. There she is.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, good to see you.
We missed you, Jeff.
What they say, Kat, is never, ever appear in a photograph or a video with a green screen behind you.
Yep.
Because people can put whatever they want back there, right?
I know. That's the beauty of it.
Now, see if Jack
That's literally why I didn't pick a green background. Is I had just
right. See now, Jack, if you were really on top of your game, you would be throwing animations up behind her live while we're doing this, right?
I know, right?
Okay.
I could be getting attacked by a villain or something.
That's my next goal, I guess.
Yeah. But hey, we've had some really good fan interaction in the past couple of weeks. That's been great. You guys did a big giveaway last week, and we got some nice responses to that. So that's really cool. And say hi to all the fans out there who are checking us out and watching the show. Yeah, look at that, Dimitri right there. He's jumping in. I think Dimitri's like our super fan now. He's like super interactive.
Well, we've got a couple people that have really been blowing us up lately. We're definitely getting more communication. Dimitri's a winner. He's one of the people who won. Yeah, so we're definitely going to. We've got something going out for him. We've got a bunch of stuff. That's not what I meant to do. See, I'm still learning. But we got a bunch of stuff going out. That's something we can go over here in a little bit. In terms of what the new prizes are, but it is Wednesday. It's New Comic Book Day.
It is.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that today this episode is brought to you, for me anyway, by Powers. You can tell I get this bottle sometimes. I collect the things.
I was going
to say,
you're
not a superhero. Here's my tagline. If they want to start sending me free whiskey, if you want to be a superhero, get your powers.
Get your powers. There you go. You can't be a superhero without powers. That's right.
Yeah, so sponsor me. Send me a free bottle once a week or once a month.
That's one way to solicit sponsorships. I like it. Send us free things. We'll share it with the fans. So anyway, no, good job last week on the show. It was really good to see you guys winging it without me. I tried to get back home in time to get on, but traffic was not on my side. So, it happens.
So we haven't had a chance to talk with you since San Diego.
Yeah.
So
right.
Tell us about that. What were the big highlights with San Diego?
It's kind of funny. Being there for the Eisner Awards was really, really great. And once it was over, I got to be just a fanboy all day Saturday and Sunday. And so I spent most of the time after the award, which we didn't win, but it was okay because just being there was pretty cool. And I met a fellow nominee, a guy named Sean McArdle, who produced a comic book called The Fuhrer and the Tramp. It's like Charlie Chaplin takes on Adolf Hitler. And he had done a Kickstarter and a web comic, and he got nominated as well. And he and I had hooked up, and I had supported his Kickstarter. And we were next to each other at tables in the room. And the first time we had met in person was at the Eisner Awards, which was really, really surreal. And I know, Jack, we don't have language restrictions on this show, right? Right? We can say whatever you want.
You can say whatever you want, yeah.
Okay, good. So Sean and I met after we both lost the awards. there in the room, and we just looked at each other and almost simultaneously said, "We're in the fucking room, man. We're here." Like, it didn't matter that we didn't win. We were there. We were in the room, and it was we were part of the community. It was really kind of interesting and weird and surreal all at the same time. But yeah, I got to totally geek out. You guys saw some clips from the videos, and thanks, Jack, for sifting through. Man, they were really tight on people filming and catching things on film. So all of my film footage I sent to Jack was basically me with my camera on my phone on a mini tripod, and I would just hit record, and I would just walk through it. I would be like just holding it up and just kind of moving it around, trying to catch as much as I could. And Jack made some sense out of about 5 minutes worth of footage I sent to you, and it looked really good. I was like, oh, it looks like we actually knew what we were doing. So it was pretty awesome.
I mean, it was interesting just to see the things that you were talking about. Like, I was curious about what really stuck out in your head, because when I was flipping through, there was like all these cool things you would just kind of pass. But I was just curious, what would you say is the thing that really like stood out in your mind as the coolest or the most exciting?
The DC and Warner's had a really nice setup, and all of the CW shows had the actors there, and they were removed from the convention floor, but they were still on the floor. They were like at these tables, kind of separated, and you saw Melissa Benoist from Supergirl and some of the video footage. They were 6 feet away from me, with lines of people getting autographs from them, but they were just right there and accessible. And so to me, that was kind of the big thing too. Was I went to a handprint ceremony for Kevin Smith. Filmmaker Kevin Smith was doing a handprint ceremony at one of the Chinese theater, one of their franchise theaters there in San Diego. And he did a big presentation and came out and spoke, and I shot some video of that and got some pictures of that. And I was like, this is really cool being that close to Kevin Smith, somebody that I've admired for a long, long time, and just being a part of it. But it was not. Here's the thing: it's San Diego. You think of it as, oh man, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be so crowded, and you can't move. It wasn't as bad as you imagine. From a horror standpoint, it wasn't as bad as you can imagine. Dealing with the crowds and all of that, it was much easier to navigate than I thought it would be. And as I was leaving, we went there Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday we were just going to go to the beach, my wife and I. And toward the end of the day on Sunday, we were waiting to go to the airport to leave, and I got this weird feeling, and I was like, let's go back down and just walk around one more time, just like for an hour. And we did, and got to be there for them making the announcement. Attention, 15 minutes until San Diego Comic-Con ends and all that stuff. And everything was clearing out. There was a lot more room to walk around at the end. And just sort of breathing it in, that last sort of nostalgic moment. And then as we were leaving, we walked through the crosswalk, and approaching me, heading toward the convention center, was quite possibly the best Thanos cosplay I could imagine ever seeing. Oh. And I thought, I'm glad I'm going the opposite direction that he's going. So yeah. So that was it.
Not so tough.
Well, no, it was great meeting a lot of artists, a lot of writers, and people like that, and getting to have some chats with them as a pure fanboy, but also them knowing that I had been there as a nominee probably got me a little more FaceTime with some people than it would have ordinarily. So that was really cool. That was really nice. And I can't wait. As I was walking away, and I passed Thanos, and I walked a little faster. But the first thing that hit me as kind of a last reflection of the convention experience was, I can't wait to come back. Like immediately, I wanted to come back, and I wanted to come back and be there for all 5 days. So it's very addictive, I think. But, now I've just got to get nominated again. Why not?
Do that. Yeah, just do that real quick. I don't think that should be that hard.
Well, and I do want to announce to folks who are following us here, the co-author of the book that I worked on that was nominated for the Eisner Award, Dewey Cassell. He and I have already been asked by Tomorrow's Publishing to write a book about legendary Batman artist Marshall Rogers, who died a number of years ago. So this is going to be a bit more of a challenge, that the subject matter is no longer living. But for those who may not know, Marshall Rogers and Steve Englehart in the late 70s did a fairly short run on Batman, and they changed the tone of Batman. In the 50s and 60s, it had been more lighthearted, and certainly the TV show in the 60s informed that, but the creations of things like the Bat-Mite character, and it was just more silly and goofy. There was not much dark to the Dark Knight. And Englehart and Rogers in the late 70s did a short run on Batman, and he is the artist that is most often cited by other artists as being the guy who changed the direction of Batman that led to what we have now, that led to Frank Miller's The Dark Knight, that led to the Batman movie in 1989. Mm-hmm. Every artist, if you ask them who's the most influential Batman artist of all times, Marshall Rogers' name is going to pop up within the top 5 of everyone that you talk to. Yeah. So, and like I said, he died about a decade ago, but we're going to write a book about his career.
And that's pretty cool.
So, hey.
So you've got it covered. You'll be there next
week. We'll go back to the Eisners for that. We'll see.
That. Come on.
Hey, also, real quick, I gave us a big shout out. I was brought onto another podcast. Well, we're not a podcast, so I shouldn't say another podcast. I was brought onto a podcast on Sunday night for an interview to talk about the Eisners, to talk about the publishing project I'm working on with Mike Grell and Arvell Jones. And I got a chance to mention Issues With and some of the stuff that we did in June at Heroes Con. Hang on.
Heroes
in Charlotte. Got to mention some of the interviews that we did, and got some folks really excited about what's coming whenever Issues With Season 1 finally comes out. So it's the Legion of Substitute Podcasters is the podcast. It's Legion of Heroes Group. Yeah, they're really cool guys, and based one in Canada, one in Atlanta, Texas, all over the country, and they get together every Sunday night. They've had 560 some episodes.
Wow.
So I was really honored to be on that show with them, and I got to talk about Issues With, as well as all the other great things that are going on. So if folks like it, they can check out Legion of Substitute Podcasters. It's about 2 hours of conversation, and if you can wade through it, I talk about Issues With about an hour in. So
okay, we'll have to we'll repost it on Facebook or something, and we'll put the time code. Like
there you go. Yeah, we'll find the time code.
Just hear about us.
It was a lot of fun. It was great. So there, and here's the thing: is the guys on there? I was telling them about Issues With, and I was telling them what we were trying to do, and they were really, you could tell as fans, like they were really appreciative. Talking about the book that was nominated for the Eisner about Mike Grell. One of the guys had kind of said something, and I'm paraphrasing. It's important to preserve the stories of these creators.
Yeah.
To get it on film, to get it out there in some way, so it's more than just their work. And I think that's what we're all about here is getting behind who they really are, finding out more about the real people. And so it was affirmation that we're doing a good thing.
When we first started this show, we talked about was that like odd sensation of that the people who do this work sometimes seem like not real people. They seem like entities, or they seem like we always kind of talk about it. Sounds bad, but we always got to talk about you assume they're dead. You assume these are icons that did something long before your time.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to connect people with those artists. And I think that's something we heard from the artists was a lot of them. The cons, the community, the whole vibe of the comic book world has shifted where people want to know who they are. when you look at people getting behind those Kickstarters, yes, you realize like the community has rallied in a different way than maybe a lot of other communities.
It's more fan interactive. There used to be these kind of barriers between the fans and the creators. A lot of times you never knew what an artist looked like.
Yeah.
You never saw them. You never met them.
And it's funny how you meet them and you're like, you're not what I thought you were going to look like.
Yeah, exactly. And so now they're more well-known and their fans have more access to them. Hey, I just saw a comment from our friend Dimitri on here. We were talking about Batman artists. He cited 3 of the big ones here. Neil Adams, of course, Jim Lee, Jim Aparo, who was posthumously honored at the Eisner Awards, tremendous Batman artist, worked on the Brave and the Bold series back in the late 70s, early 80s. Yeah, there are 3 great ones right there, and certainly Marshall Rogers is his name gets dropped in groups like that all the time.
Yeah.
So it should be a fun book.
So there's a lot we maybe will try to cover. We don't want to go on for an hour, but
that's right. We don't want to go too far, but there is news about certain things.
Yeah, I was going to say the movie
ether, right?
has been like blowing up all week. I mean, 3 days. And this is one I know, Jeff. If you want to give us the backstory and the new updates.
Well, the CW TV shows have been really great and very successful for DC and Warner's because they're much more comic book like. Who would have figured that comics, which are like episodic, 12 episodes a year in print, would translate so well to 22 episodes a year in TV time. It's like every episode you're watching is like reading a comic, and so they've really leaned into this, doing these big crossovers with all their shows: The Flash, The Green Arrow, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow. They've crossed them over and had, like in the old days in the comics, and they still do it now, but Crisis on Infinite Earths, this one right here, was the beginning of all that. Before Marvel had Secret Wars, before all of that stuff went down, this book happened, where basically every hero is brought into it, and there's a major thing, and they all have to fight, and some of them die, and it completely changes the universe. Well, the CW shows, a couple of years ago, they did a crossover called Crisis on Earth X, which may be, if you look at Avengers Infinity War as being the perfect comic book movie, Crisis on Earth X from the CW shows is the perfect TV crossover equivalent of the Avengers movies.
I agree.
You got to go see. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, you got to see it. It's so freaking fantastic.
It is.
And this year they're leaning heavily into doing the big one, Crisis on Infinite Earths. Arrow is ending, so I think this is going to somehow work into the ending of Arrow. But the Infinite Earths thing, there are multiple versions of every superhero on different Earths, the multiverse. And so there are multiple Supermans, multiple Batmans, multiple Flashes. And what happens if they all converge together and they're in one story together? The universe, it kind of goes sideways. And so we've heard
some people, right?
They have confirmed some people. Kevin Conroy, who is, a lot of people say, is the definitive Batman. When they read the books, they hear his voice because he's the voiceover actor who I believe was a college pal of Christopher Reeve. Like, he's contemporary of Christopher Reeve. They were in school together. And he played Batman and Bruce Wayne on the animated Batman show in the 90s. He's going to be playing an older Bruce Wayne in the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover. There is now, I think, mostly unconfirmed, but heavy rumors that Mark Hamill, there you go, may actually show up as the Joker. And of course, that is manipulated. Somebody's done some Photoshop work. And I think that's from his appearance on The Flash as the Trickster, which is a very Joker-like character he played in the Flash TV show in 1990. Before he got the Joker voice part. And so there's some similarities there. But if they get Mark, who's already done the CW shows as the Trickster, if they get him to come back and play both the Trickster and the Joker, that would be, pretty phenomenal. Brandon Routh, who played Superman in Superman Returns, the movie, is the Atom in Legends of Tomorrow in the CW universe, but he's also playing the Kingdom Come Superman, which is a miniseries from the late 90s, early 2000s. That's really an epic. It's a great, great story. He's playing Superman from that version, and just saw today Tom Welling, who played Superman in Smallville. Well, he didn't play Superman. He played Clark Kent in Smallville. May be on the verge of signing a contract. And Michael Rosenbaum, who is a really great actor and a great podcaster too, may be returning as Lex Luthor.
Oh, I saw that.
In this new Crisis on Infinite Earths, which they already have John Cryer playing Lex Luthor on Supergirl. And apparently, I haven't seen the episodes because I'm behind.
Oh, I see.
But apparently, he plays like the Legion of Doom equivalent of Lex Luthor, like the big green power suit that he wore in the 80s.
Yeah.
Freaking John Cryer is playing Lex Luthor, and he apparently crushed it on Supergirl last season. So all of these things can cross over.
I wanna do like a tally here. What have you guys watched? To be fair, because I haven't watched Supergirl. I'm gonna be honest. I don't watch Supergirl.
It's a really good show. My stepdaughter is big time into Supergirl and Flash, so that's like appointment TV for us. You know, we backload them on the DVR.
I watched all of them except Supergirl. Like I even watched Black Lightning, who for the first time is going to be a part of the crossover with.
Bringing that in.
Yeah, so I watch all of it except Supergirl. I only watch the Supergirl when it's the crossovers, so I've seen all the crossovers, which are.
You would like Supergirl, I think, if you got into it. It's pretty cool. But I watched Arrow when it came on. You know, and it kind of kicked things off. It's had its ups and downs. It's it's like Star Trek movies. Every other season is good.
Yeah, I was ready to say the same thing, Jeff. Like every other season, like the first season was good, the second season was, and third season you're like, what's going on? Fourth season, good.
Right. They ended strong this past season, and they're only doing like 8 or 10 episodes, and then they're done. So the Crisis story will wind up involving Arrow, and I think a lot of speculation is that they're going to kill off Oliver Queen, and it's going to be part of the Crisis storyline, which is going to be 5 episodes. And they're doing 3 before the Christmas break and 2 after, so they're cliffhangering people over the Christmas holidays.
Yeah, so this actually brings me around to something. So I tried Arrow. I never got past the first season. I wasn't crazy about it, and I'm noticing a pattern where I don't want to seem like a hater. It seems like I've been very focused on Marvel lately.
Right.
I'm not a hater. I am kind of more of a Marvel person. If you look around my office, it's hard to find DC stuff, but. I thought about this. I had feelings. I was like, I feel guilty.
Go get this, Jack. Go buy this. Go find this. Get this here.
I've got something I'm going to throw out. So special for today because I feel guilty. This is just because I feel guilty. We've gotten in a habit of, I keep saying, we have all this stuff that we're giving away. And I'm going to show you guys some more free stuff we're giving away. This is some free comics that we're going to be giving away. That I have I've never shown these yet. If you just to give you guys an idea of how many freaking prizes we have. These are all it's hard to see with the glare, but they're these hologram cool. Where's this?
A few years ago they did a big kind of gimmicky cover thing, and so that's from that run. Maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah,
they're pretty cool. So we have a stack of those, and it's just literally a stack of comics that have cool covers is how they were donated to us or purchased or whatever you want to call it.
And our follower David says his daughter got him into Supergirl, and he's excited at the covers you just showed, Jack. So we got a fan, another DC fan.
Yeah, we've got Catwoman, Drax, which Drax kind of slipped in there. That's Marvel. I'm sorry.
Oops. How dare you? Sir.
Well, I have a Crisis on Infinite Earth easy trivia. I think it's easy.
Okay.
So
that could be spoiler alerts though.
Okay. Hold on. Let's recap quickly though. I don't know, Jeff, did you see
that's right.
Have you seen our attempts at trivia? So
I did. Yeah. That's all right.
I feel like this one's easy. I feel like I got our watchers, our viewers can get this. How many issues were there of Crisis Infinite Earth? All right.
And Jeff, keep an eye out. That's the trivia. There's a possible winner.
I felt like answering because I know the answer.
No,
I can't.
You can repeat the question again?
It's this many. No, actually, no. Truth be told, this has more than just Crisis in it. This has another series in it as well. So I'd say this is not a fair representation.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh man. So people are I didn't mean to start a Marvel DC thing. I'm just.
Well, it's all good. There's enough for everybody.
And out of those, what we'll probably do is just whoever chimes in and gets the right answer first. We might even just send them out and say this is what's coming to you. We've got.
That's right. How many issues was the Crisis on Infinite Earths miniseries?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How many issues was it? It's an easy one. That's a gimme.
For once, it's an easy one.
I will say, Kat has brought up a couple times, and I think it stands to reason that whether they're hard or easy is kind of pointless since there's a thing called Google.
Well, that's true. Hey, we got a winner.
Oh, we got a winner. Oh, okay, awesome.
All right.
So
all right, we'll be in touch with our winner there. Okay, good.
Yeah, and we've got more than just comics, guys. But the truth is, I've got so much stuff that I might just start grabbing you at random if you're a subscriber. And you may have noticed, I think at the bottom of our little ticker here, it even says, if you share this video, you automatically are entered into random drawings. We're just going to randomly pick people that we've seen have shared these and send you free stuff.
Spread the word about the show and about what we're doing, and you could win.
Stuff. Because free stuff, let's be honest.
In fact, at some point next month, I'm going to be doing some cool free stuff once the Masterstroke Studios publication is officially underway, which it's going to the printers this week. So we have several exclusive Kickstarter type exclusive items that I will be giving away at some point in the near future that you could only get if you supported Kickstarter or if you support us here. So keep an eye. Yeah,
it's not blackmail.
No,
it's incentive.
And technically, I'm the editor-in-chief of Masterstroke Studios, so I can get away with giving contraband to the folks.
So, all right. So here, let's see if we can. There's so much to talk about from just this week.
Yes.
I will say, for those of you who are currently actually following what the big stuff with House of X and Powers of X, we've been kind of going back and forth and talking about those. There's so many possible covers. This is one of the ones you can get, and these, man, this is, I think, the base. I think this is A cover, and then the B covers and so on. I'm not 100% sure on which are which, but there's definitely some fascination with a certain character. We're seeing a lot of stuff featuring Storm, which is awesome. And House of X 2. So we're on House of X 2, and I do have my copy, of course, sitting right here because it's Wednesday. I had to go to the store, had to get to the new comic.
Yes.
And we've got the one of the variants. This is one of the Storm variants, and it's one of the ones I picked up because I dig Storm. And actually, I think that's a really cool.
That's a great cover. That's a great cover. Yes.
And so we're now on House of X2. I've not read it. I'm not going to even try to pretend and do that whole thing. But so far, it's been really exciting. The other thing that I wanted to kind of talk about, that was a surprise, I guess, for me, is this news about, I don't know, Jeff, have you been listening to all the buzz about Absolute Carnage?
Yes. I saw this pop up a few places today. Actually, I got my regular weekly email from our friend Shelton Drum at Heroes Aren't Hard to Find Comics. I'm subscribed to his email list, and I recommend everybody out there subscribe to it as well. Especially when it's convention time, you're going to want to know who's coming to the show.
Yeah.
But it's the big book this week. That's the one that Shelton put up and highlighted this week. Absolute Carnage. There's a play on words in that title somewhere. But yeah, that's the hot book of the week right now. I have the Spider-Man issues where Carnage first appeared.
Yeah,
my collection, like the first appearances. So I'm always happy to see that, just because the values go up whenever a character becomes insanely popular. But I've not, it's like Carnage is one of those characters that I didn't really follow though. After that, I got out of that run of Spider-Man shortly thereafter.
Ditto.
So I know what the character is, but haven't kept up with it. But it's insanely popular, and I have a feeling maybe will be turning up in the next Venom movie. I mean, we're seeing a cover image right now.
That's already been confirmed, actually, and it will be Woody Harrelson. He's got that little kind of odd cameo at the end of the movie of Venom, the first Venom film, where I think he just said there's going to be Carnage or something, like, oh, he's going to be Carnage. So it's a
done deal. Yeah,
I saw that was confirmed. The other big news for Venom 2 is the confirmation on the director. So, and I'm blanking on what's his name, Andy Serkis.
Yeah,
Andy Serkis, right? Yeah, who has been known as mainly motion cap pioneer and artist. I mean, he really, with his own studio, he worked with Peter Jackson obviously for a number of years, and then he broke out on his own. He's the go-to guy. He's the guy who, if you want the best mocap in your movie, he and his team are the ones that do it. But he also has turned up now as himself in a lot of movies. Even he was in the Black Panther movie, not wearing little dots and spandex to cover himself up, but he was also in the King Kong movie as an actor, and then doing the motion cap as well, and of course in Star Wars, the last couple of Star Wars movies, Snoke was his character. So yeah, Andy Serkis, this may be his first time directing a feature, I think, and so he's making a transition into that, and why not? I mean, he's worked with some of the best, so he knows what he's doing. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. The whole app here has gone kind of insane. So I'm trying to make sure I'm actually back in.
Okay.
So for those of you who don't know, we are using a new app that's in beta testing that you will randomly see weird stuff happen.
Yes, there we go. All right. I saw him. He was there a minute ago. Now he's gone. But yeah, no, that is big. Yeah, Carnage is about to be really, really big, I think. So if you got those old comics, hang on to them. Resale value. Although, I'm one of those people that it's like I've got comics that date way back that are insane collector's items that I just can't part with. It's like I don't care how much they're worth. I'm not necessarily in it to try and get rich off of it.
Well, and one of the things I was going to circle back to is you were talking about the first Spider-Man appearances of Carnage. I think a lot of people have and follow. I'm sure he has diehard fans out there, but I wasn't particularly one. And the buzz on this is that it's like really cinematic, that the storyline is
right,
nonstop action, but there's this really excellent kind of rhythm from one to the next. And I guess Gates is the writer and Stegman is the artist. The kind of thing I keep hearing from people is that Stegman's art has kind of gone from him being this like B- lister, like people know who he is. So he wasn't huge, and then this is like blown him up. People are just seeing him now as this epic artist.
In an age where artists are kind of mired down by house style at either Marvel or DC, a lot of artists are being, I don't know if they're being taught, but they're driven in a direction where it's like you need to be as generic or as close to kind of a classical art style that the companies like as possible. It's tough for artists these days to leap out. It's tough to find a Bill Sienkiewicz or a Walt Simonson or a Howard Chaykin or any of those old guys, Steve Rude, Dave Stevens, who had a unique style. So Stegman and a bunch of others, Mitch Gerards, who won some Eisners. There are several artists who are making names for themselves. And I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see distinct styles coming back because too much of it looks the same too much of the time if you just pick up a random book, either DC or Marvel at this point. So I like it when they push an artist out there like that and let them have that artistic voice. And I think fans respond to it. I think that gets the fans' passions up.
Well, I love the covers. I went to get House of Cards too, and I've seen it online. I've seen people talking about Carnage, and then was in line, like actually not online, but actually there in the store. People started talking about it, and I was like, wow, man, this is like the 10th time today I've heard about it, so I had to buy it.
Well, let us know how it turns out. Yes.
Yeah. The one of the bigger things that I heard today that seems kind of awesome, and I have my fingers crossed, but going back to what you were saying, Jeff, about if you have comics, you're excited to see a character succeed. If you like a character, you want them to have a good movie or show.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Great. But I love Silver Surfer and Galactus. I always love the villain. And I've almost got a perfect run for the first volume. And suddenly they announced that Silver Surfer is going to have a show or a movie, but definitely an origin story. And so the Silver Surfer comics started going up, and that was bogus. I was like, I was this close.
Well, if Galactus does turn out to be the next Marvel movie universe villain, that sets up the Fantastic Four, and the Silver Surfer automatically is a part of the Galactus story. So, and Namor apparently is going to turn up in the next Black Panther movie, which is an open door into the Fantastic Four world as well. So there are a lot of connectivity points that I think are pointing in that direction. So you should be pretty happy in the near future.
But it sucks though, because if you're trying to buy 2 comics to have a full run, and then news like this comes out, the cost jumps. I mean, you could get one for like $150. Now they want like $600. I'm like, it's not fair.
Go get it now. That's the thing. Go get it now.
I'm talking about it jumped overnight. Like I've been watching it and bidding and like trying to find a nice copy, and now it's like I should have bought one for $200. You know, because now they want $1,000, and it's like, God dang it.
Well, and the thing is,
my man. I'm so excited. I hope they do him justice.
Yeah. The thing is that too, it's not worth that price. Clearly, they're just trying to nab the hot button thing of the moment. So
it's a keyword.
Come back down.
We'll see. I mean,
or buy lottery tickets and not care. You know.
See how that goes.
And that happens a lot, honestly. It's like there's some comic I'm like, I'm so close to having a run, or I'm so close to getting this issue, and then all of a sudden there'll be news about it, which is the flip of basically my childhood, where every comic I loved was the worst movie. So it's like the Ghost Rider Punisher, you know.
Hey, one of our viewers pointing out he's trying to get Amazing Spider-Man number 300. That's one of his big gets. But he also said he's waiting for a Marvel Zombies movie. And I encourage you to go to the San Diego Comic-Con imagery they released for the TV shows and the upcoming movies. They announced the TV, I think it's animated, a TV show for Marvel. I think it's going to be on the Disney app where all that stuff's going to land, called What If. So they're taking the old What If thing. And if you go in close, and you can find it, if you look inside, hidden imagery inside the logo, is a zombie Captain America. So there are some people saying that they're hinting that that's going to be one of the what ifs that airs. So yeah, go look for it. If you Google that image and you kind of find a nice high res one, you can see it.
That's interesting, because one of the other little tidbits of news I read this today, I think, was out of the What If world and the combo world of just characters teaming up. I think Marvel officially said they want, or they're planning to do, a Wolverine, Deadpool, Spider-Man project. If you don't follow the whole Deadpool Spider-Man relationship, it's kind of amazing.
Yeah. Well, there's some talk too that they had a New Mutants movie in the works. There was going to be more of a horror movie than a superhero movie.
Come out?
No, it's gone. So it's gotten axed off the schedule apparently. So
they
a lot of
shot
people,
it. It was
it was tied up in the Fox, the X-Men Fox deal,
right? And
I think Fox had wanted to get it, kind of in the pipeline for the Disney buyout. But since the Disney buyout, the word on the street is that the New Mutants flick is gone. It's not happening. Yeah,
that's interesting. I remember that had a lot of news about the director had admitted he never read the comics. He just liked the title.
That's always a bad thing when you hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, he could have called it anything, and people probably would have gone to see it.
Well, sure, yeah.
And then there were rumors that it just wasn't very good. That was all around the Dark Phoenix film also, that they were reshooting parts and trying to keep them alive.
Well, originally they had planned it to be 2 films, I think, with like a cliffhanger ending. And once that it was apparent that Fox was going to be going over to Disney, I think they reshot and cut it and tried to make it into a single film, and just mired it down to. I saw it, and it wasn't horrible. Yeah, it wasn't horrible, but it was lacking something. It was missing something. Very clearly there was something missing from it.
Kat, did you see it?
No, I was too scared.
Yeah. You're too scared to see New Mutants or Dark Phoenix?
Dark Phoenix. That's what I was like, too many of my friends were like,
2 bites at that apple and they've screwed it up both times.
Yeah. So I was like, I think I'll pass, or wait till it comes on like HBO and I can get it, like I can watch it from home.
It's funny how some of the animated shows do a better job than these huge production movies.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the Wolverine and the X-Men animated show. It was like one season got canceled, but they basically covered a version of the Dark Phoenix.
Right. There's a real nostalgia for the '90s X-Men cartoon characters. You know, the Justice League Unlimited cartoon was superior in every way to Justice League movie stuff that came out.
Right.
It's very interesting. Sometimes the animated, Batman, the animated series, a lot of people look at that as being the perfect Batman. And Kevin Conroy being the perfect Batman voice actor. So animation is closer to comics, I guess, and so it's easier for them to lean into that. And movies, starting with the X-Men movie back in the day, they made jokes about, well, we can't put them in their costumes because that'll look silly.
Right.
So movies have always shied away from the source material, but the cartoons didn't have to. Yeah,
and if you're not familiar, that's Kevin Conway, and that's.
I do think it is still speculation that it's going to be the Batman Beyond Bruce Wayne.
Right.
I don't know that that's confirmed, but if that comes to pass, that would be awesome too. The Batman Beyond universe being on the Crisis show would be a lot of fun. So, a lot of people had said they wanted to see a movie and have Michael Keaton play.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be awesome.
I've heard that before. Yeah.
Which would be perfect.
And it's a different time if the fans kind of bitching.
There is some buzz out there too saying that the DC Universe app shows like the Teen Titans might actually cross over into the Crisis on Infinite Earths show as well. But there's a whole lot of rumors out there that are not fully substantiated. So take everything with a grain of salt at this point. We can all be wishful, I guess. But
so the big news has been Carnage is the surprise comic of the week.
Yes.
We may have Mark Hamill coming back as the Joker, which I think everybody wants.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, and the first time he will be physically playing the role, not just the voice.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you don't know that Mark Hamill is the Joker, he's done that voice better than anybody.
Yeah.
Then
hey, Kat, there's some trivia for you. There's some trivia for you. Mark Hamill was actually the second choice to play the Joker's animated voice, and he had to redub the first episode. And the actor who did play the Joker's voice, can you name that actor?
Tough.
How about that? We'll save that for next time.
I already said it.
Let's get that. Yeah.
I mean,
that's the top one for the day.
Well, here's a hint for you. Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh wait, was there a death that involved the change? Or this is before? No, that's way older.
That's 1992.
Interesting.
Yeah. He was also in The Hunt for Red October, oddly enough. Tim Curry was the original.
Did somebody already answer?
No, I did. I just threw it out there.
You just stole some chance.
Nah, we already gave away. We already gave away for this week. So.
Oh, Jeff on that strict whip, like.
I think Jeff wanted a prize.
Yeah, that's right. What are those books again? No.
I'll pick 3 for you.
No, we'll give those to one of the other fans. That's a gimme.
All you have to do is share the video, and you're automatically in.
Just share it. That's it. Share this.
I'm trying to think what was the other big news. There's a couple of big things recently. Gemma Chan was announced as a possible addition to the Eternals.
Right. There's a lot of buzz around the Eternals. Yes.
That's a crazy cast. I don't know. For those of you who subscribe to our newsletter, and I guess this is where we do the subscribe to our newsletter. I guess we promoted
it. Go ahead and subscribe. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt a bit.
Yeah, but you have a chance to get news, but you also have a chance to win stuff. But the news on the newsletter this week was talking about the additional to the Eternals. But you look at that cast, it's crazy. It's like Angelina Jolie, Salma Hayek. Salma Hayek was in that new Mutants film that you were just saying. But so it's a big cast. I mean, financially, it's a big cast.
Yeah.
Sure. I just I want the internet to stop telling us that Keanu Reeves is a great actor and needs to be shoehorned into a Marvel project. I need that to stop.
There is news. Like supposedly the big thing is that they really have gone to Keanu Reeves to play.
Oh my god!
In a
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
His name's come up with that. I've seen it, but see, I think it's one of those that's like the fake deaths on the internet. I think it's one of those things where people will totally just clickbait that out there because he's been named for Fantastic Four. He's been he's been name dropped for a bunch of stuff, and it's like
I haven't seen anything that was official. Like I saw that the only actual official thing I saw was that this recent thing where they said Eternals was what they pitched to him,
right?
But that also he was seen going into an office or having a meeting with the people at Marvel. And they openly said we had a meeting with them, but we're not telling you anything. So
yeah, well, get it over with if you have to, I guess. But I don't know.
You're hating on Keanu. I think there's a part in the
he has the range of a daisy rifle, you know.
You're not a John Wick fan?
First Hollywood crush, Jeff.
That's all right. No. It's like, and he's fine. That's in his range. It's all good.
We're split on a serious issue.
Yeah, 15 lines of dialogue and 3 emotions. It's all good.
No, if you want to be on the show and defend your honor.
Yeah, Mr. Reeve. Yeah, come on.
You didn't like Constantine? I feel like Constantine is not a fan favorite.
I think it's a fan favorite, but not his version of it. I mean, I don't mean to pile on, but I think
you do.
The TV guy seems to be pretty popular.
I think Jeff wants to make me cry. Like I think he wants to see me cry, like just hurting my feelings.
Oh, we're going way back now and hitting that youthful first love.
Yes, he was like up on my poster wall, like along with Patrick Swayze and I don't know if you guys know this group because it's a Hispanic group, but Menudo, like the first boy band.
They were
Menudo like changed the singer kid like every year.
We might be able to trace Trump's wall all the way back to Menudo if we want. I know we're not political, but
yeah, we're supposed to be neutral, but.
He didn't get tickets. He didn't get backstage passes to a Menudo show in 1982, and he's been scarred.
He's still pissed.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
possible.
That was awesome.
Menudo, if you won't have me in the front row,
we won't have you in this country.
and look, that rumor that I just started has as much credibility as half of the Keanu Reeves is going to be in this movie.
Full circle.
I don't know how long I heard that Keanu Reeves was going to be Spike from Cowboy Bebop. It was like 20 years of hearing that. But see, I don't discredit all these things because I heard about Patrick Stewart as Xavier like 4 or 5 years. It was like in a Rolling Stones or Southern member as a kid that they knew he was going to play that role.
He was really the only person out there. I think Bruce Willis still had hair at that point in time. So, I mean, there were a few choices. If you go back, it's the Wizard magazine did a thing in like 1994 where they cast the X-Men movie, but keep in mind that they cast Bob Hoskins as the Wolverine. So, with a grain of salt. And that's based on the original character, not what he became.
Not real, or you like pulling my leg?
No, Google it. Look at it. It's out there. Wizard magazine.
It takes us a while.
This is one of those sarcastic moments that I'm gonna Google it, and it's gonna be like, "You're stupid."
It's real.
Oh, wow.
The truth is, Jeff said it, so it's probably true.
It's probably true. Yeah.
If I said it, you shouldn't be suspicious.
I'm telling people right now. Google Wizard magazine X-Men movie casting 1994 or 95, awesome. And that's it. You'll find it. It's there.
I remember seeing it and just being like, "Oh man, it's gonna be an X-Men movie!" I was so excited. And it was like 10 years later, a movie actually got made, and they're like, "Halle Berry is gonna be in this movie," and you're like, "What the fuck?" I mean, people hate on Halle Berry's Storm. I was excited when the first movie came out.
I don't officially hate on her Storm because it's not what she did; it's what the writers did to it.
Well, right.
So. And she didn't have an accent that seemed right, but whatever. We're just nitpicking. Also, I try to separate movies from comics. I'm a big believer in that. Once a comic is a comic, and when a movie is based on a comic, it's just based on it.
Yeah.
You got to keep them separate.
You know what? I learned that lesson the hard way with the Wolverine movie, the first one, because within the first 5 minutes, I was like, "What is happening?
You're
what
talking about the Wolverine Origins film?
Yeah. Right. And I mean, literally the first 5 minutes, I was like, "What is this?" Like, and people were like, and I'm like, "No, I know the real story. This isn't it." Like, I was just like losing it.
Yeah. Well, luckily,
that's like Green
past
Lantern
that now. Then Hollywood, they're actually paying attention to the source material now. So the growing pains were rough, though.
And if you haven't read it, I highly recommend reading Origins. The first.
Yeah, such a good. Yeah,
so
that's
good.
why I was yelling at the movie first 5 minutes, because it's definitely a good read.
So Galactus, I'm pumped. Keanu, who knows?
Stop it.
Whatever.
And Carnage is the comic to get this week.
Next episode.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I'm gonna wear my Bill and Ted shirt next episode.
Right.
And they're doing another one.
Yeah, I'm like,
currently in progress, I think.
Is that a good or bad career decision?
Yeah. I'll be there. I'll be at the theater.
I want to thank my unofficial sponsor.
There we go.
Powers Whiskey. If you want to be a superhero and you need powers, drink Powers.
That's right. That's a good tagline. That's perfect.
I'm not big on being on camera, so
the next time we film season 2 of Issues With, if we have powers right there for all of our guests, we'll get more interesting stories out of them, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I was amazed. Those of you who don't know, season 1 is in post-production, but when I'm supervising, and so I get to see these interviews, and I was there usually in the room.
Right, in the room.
And it's fascinating how things that I kind of forgot or whatever, suddenly pop up, and I'm like, oh yeah, that someone just totally opened up and told us this like secret from 30 years ago they've never told anybody.
Pretty cool.
It's been fun.
Without liquor plying them for the truth. It was great.
Next time.
and Neil Adams told us how to repair loose toilet seats. So
the first 15 minutes of that interview, I think, was
that was the opening of the interview. I know we're gonna have to go back and post and sort of film a new opening where I have to explain how we got there, so that when we get there in the conversation, it'll make sense to the audience.
It's been a crazy ride, and these breakdowns have really started picking up speed, and I guess people like free stuff, and they like hearing about the actual artists. I mean, again, if you don't know, find your favorite artists and look them up, and you can meet them. It's not a big deal. They're everywhere, and I'm amazed how many artists are just regular people who are happy to talk. If you're an artist, I'm amazed. Don't hesitate. Go up to them, give them your art, and say, I want to do this, and they'll probably give you advice. But
send us your stuff too. Show us your stuff. We'll pass it on if you're too shy to go do it yourself.
That's right. Absolutely. So, new comics concepts and art, send it our way. We would love to share that. Actually, I would love to see more of the indie comic creators come our way. But so House of X #2 this week. Carnage is sort of the big surprise. I love Powers and House of X. I say keep reading it. I found a list of everything coming out this week. There was like 70 something.
Every week, man, every week. And that's just the stuff coming out through Diamond Distribution. If you go to Kickstarter and you look up comics projects, there are dozens more of things you've never discovered and never heard of before that are really cool. So it's a good time to be a fan. You still have to search a little bit to find some things that you might have never known about, but it's worth it. It's worth looking for. So get out there and get your stuff.
And I love Marvel, but don't miss out on all these other publishers. Like
a lot of great companies. Yeah.
I mean, from Master Strokes all the way to Dark Horse and Image and those guys, the amount of stuff that's out there is endless. That's something in our newsletter that we talked about, and I don't know if anyone's seen it, but the Spawn 300 cover is just really cool. It's for a 300. That's That's badass.
Yeah,
300, nothing to laugh at. That's an accomplishment.
it is.
Jeff, do you know the name of this artist? I had it earlier and I've lost it.
I'm looking at it to see if I can figure it out, but I don't.
Oh, well, I think we just stumbled upon something here because technically Jeff won the trivia earlier.
That's right.
Here's our last trivia for the night. Your last chance to randomly win something. Who is the artist that did this new Spawn 300 cover?
All right. Yeah, first person to answer gets something cool.
Yeah.
All right. They can Google it. I know. It's yeah. That is cool. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's see.
I was gonna say we're gonna get audited, and they're like the winners for the past 4 prizes have been Kat and Jeff.
That's right. Well, we didn't even know that one, so let's.
I got a good one then.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Jeff, you're gonna have to tell me.
Now, is that the main cover or is that the variant cover? Because there's a whole bunch. Looks like.
Ooh.
Oh.
My understanding.
Oh my God! Yeah, there are like
it's a variant.
a gazillion people.
Right,
What is that?
I got it. I found it. It's cool.
It's a variant, isn't it? Don't tell who.
No, it might be the main cover. That's what it looks like.
I'm going to be honest. Let's take a look at it again real quick because when I saw this, you know, it popped into my head, and I don't know why, but the Web of Spider-Man, which number is that, where he's climbing out of the grave.
Right. Yeah. Very reminiscent of that. You're right.
But I don't know if that helps
Yep.
anybody at home.
It's the main cover. That's cover A. So that is the main cover.
It's a kick-ass cover. That's like the cover everybody was excited about. Everybody was like so excited, and the Carnage came out of nowhere.
I think I found it.
Yes.
It's a human being. That's a hint, people.
It's
You're welcome.
They breathe oxygen.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, we'll let people if they can come up with the answer and share it with us post show. We'll figure something out.
There you go. So we're looking. I guess no one's done it yet in the chat, but send us a message with the answer to this mind-boggling trivia. What is the name of the artist for Spawn 300 cover? Right there. That one.
Or post it. Post this episode and then share it and put the name of the artist in the cover. Yeah. Right there.
We are not a coordinated group.
Yeah, no. It's thank goodness there's only 3 of us because I couldn't handle the Hollywood Squares implications of having 9 little boxes.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're good. Well, I've had a blast.
That would be the Charles Nelson Riley of the crew.
It's always good to see you both.
Yes.
It's nice to be seen. I mean, it's great to see you guys too.
Till next time.
I'm going to let Jeff do the sign off. This is Jack saying goodbye.
It's been a breakdown for Kat and Jack and Jeff. Thanks for watching, guys. And share this link down here. All that. Go to the sign up for the newsletter and all that stuff. And we'll see you next time.